You know that thing you do where you close an app on your phone and then like a second later, you're opening another one without even thinking about it? Or what about that little jolt of anxiety you feel when a notification pops up? Well, today we're going to dive into how to get your time and attention back. And look, this isn't about throwing your phone in the lake, but about learning how to use it with some real intention. Okay, I want to start with a number that might just stop you in your tracks. 7 hours. Get this, that is the average amount of time Americans now spend staring at a screen every single day. I mean, that's practically a full-time job, right? Just scrolling, tapping, and swiping. It really makes you think, where is all our focus actually going? So does any of this feel familiar? I'm talking about that feeling of digital overload. You know what I mean, right? Thinking you felt your phone vibrate in your pocket when it didn't. Or that spike of anxiety when you see all those little red notification bubbles. Or, and this is a classic, that mindless loop of closing Instagram just to immediately open TikTok. It's that feeling, deep down, that you're not really the one in control of your attention anymore. And this quote from Jessalyn Jones, oh man, it just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly captures that Sunday morning jolt of reality that so many of us feel, right? It just validates that mix of embarrassment and frustration when your phone basically hands you the bill for your own attention, showing you exactly how much time just vanished without you even really choosing to spend it that way.
Okay, but what if there's a better way? And I'm not just talking about little tips and tricks here. We're talking about a whole philosophy for how you use technology. It's called digital minimalism. And really, it's all about one big shift, going from being a passive consumer to an intentional user. It's about putting yourself and your own values back in the driver's seat.
So here it is, the core idea from the author Cal Newport. And the key thing to get here is that this is not about depriving yourself. It's about focusing your online time on a small number of carefully chosen things that really truly support what you value. And then, and this part is huge, happily missing out on everything else. It's this amazing flip from the fear of missing out to, the joy of missing out. To really get a feel for this, let's put it side by side with what most of us do by default, which is something called digital maximalism. So a maximalist thinks, this new app might offer some small benefit, so yeah, I should probably use it. But a minimalist, they ask a much harder question. They ask, is this the absolute best way to support my values? See the difference? It's a total flip of how you make the decision.
All right, so this whole philosophy is built on 3 really powerful principles that explain why it's so effective. First, clutter is costly. Second, optimization is important. And third, intentionality is satisfying. Let's break those down.
So, principle number 1, clutter is costly. And we're not just talking about a messy phone screen here. Think about it. Every single app, every notification, every online service, it's like a tiny little tax on your attention. A digital minimalist understands that all these tiny taxes add up big time. They create this constant low-grade anxiety and decision fatigue that just completely outweighs whatever small benefit each individual thing might offer.
Okay, moving on to principle number 2, optimization is important. What does that mean? Well, it's not enough to just say, okay, this app is useful. A real minimalist gets strategic. They think carefully about how to use it to squeeze out the most benefit while cutting down on all the negative side effects. It's like being a skilled craftsperson with your tools, not just a mindless consumer. And that brings us to the third principle. Intentionality is satisfying. There's this really deep, genuine sense of fulfillment you get from making deliberate, conscious choices about your tech. Instead of just being dragged around by algorithms and notification dings, you get the satisfaction of knowing that you are using these incredible tools on your terms to build the kind of life you actually want. Okay, so that's the why, that's the whole philosophy. But the big question is, how do you actually do it? How do you put this into practice? Well, Cal Newport has this, I'd say radical, but super effective process he calls the 30-day digital declutter. This is where the rubber meets the road. So the whole process is basically a 3-step experiment. It's pretty cool. First, for 30 days, you take a break from all your optional technologies. And this isn't some kind of punishment, okay? It's about creating space, creating some quiet, so you can remember what you actually like to do without a screen in your face. Then, after that month is up, you start over from a completely blank slate. You intentionally decide which technologies get to earn their way back into your life, and importantly, on your terms. And the filter for what gets to come back into your life, it's refreshingly strict. A piece of tech has to pass a 3-part test. First, does it serve something you deeply value?
Not just kinda like, but deeply value. Second, is it the absolute best way to serve that value? And third, and honestly this is the real game changer, you have to create a set of rules for how you use it, a standard operating procedure. Like, I will only check social media on my laptop for 15 minutes after dare. It's all about setting boundaries that serve you, not the app.
All right, so you go through this whole process. What's waiting for you on the other side? This is the good part. This is the payoff. And we're talking about so much more than just having a tidier home screen. We're talking about fundamentally changing the quality of your life. And what's so amazing is the direct cause and effect you'll see. These small intentional actions lead to these massive results. For real, when you declutter your apps, you're not just cleaning up a screen, you're literally lightening your mental load. When you turn off notifications, you're not just silencing your phone, you are getting your ability to focus back. It's a straight-up trade. You give up the digital noise, and you get back free time and real, actual satisfaction.
Yeah, and one of the biggest payoffs here is getting back what experts call high-quality leisure. So think about it. This means swapping out that low-quality, passive stuff like mindless scrolling for activities that might take a little more effort, but are way more energizing and rewarding. You know, things that are physical or creative or actually social in the real world.
In this final quote, it just brings everything home. It gets to the absolute heart of it all. Digital minimalism was never about being anti-technology. It's about being pro-life. It's about making sure that you are using these tools to build a better, more meaningful, more human life, instead of letting them build one for you. So, I'm going to leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Seriously, think about this. If you could get back just 1 hour from your screen time every single day, what's the one high-quality, meaningful thing you would do with it? Would you learn an instrument? Go for a walk? Call a friend? Whatever your answer is, that's what this is all about.